We left the island at dawn, or at least the others did. I told them I needed to stay behind for one last round of documentation. A lie, of course. I just couldn't leave. Not after Dan, not after what I had seen. Something had pulled at me ever since we unearthed that grave, an invisible thread tying me to this cursed island. I told myself it was the need for closure, the desire to solve the mystery that had baffled the world for centuries. But deep down, I knew the truth. Something was waiting for me. That night, I stood alone at the dig site, the ancient tree looming next to me. The air was unnaturally thick, as if the island itself was breathing, waiting. My flashlight flickered. The unearthed pit where the bones had been was now empty, smooth, as if nothing had ever been there. I took a shaky breath and touched the tree's bark. The world around me exhaled. A gust of wind tore through the clearing, but the trees did not sway. My ears popped, and for the first time I heard it clearly. Low, rasping, a dozen voices whispering in unison. He shouldn't be here. My stomach lurched. I spun around, shining my light toward the tree line. They were there. Dark, elongated shapes just beyond the reach of my beam. Not moving, not breathing, just watching. "What are you?" My own voice barely came out as a whisper. The figures twitched. A shudder rippled through them, like smoke shifting in the wind. We were never gone. The voice wasn't spoken. It was inside my skull, crawling through my thoughts like insects burrowing under my skin. A sudden crack echoed through the trees. I jumped, heart hammering. The flashlight trembled in my grip as I turned. The bark of the ancient tree was splitting open. Deep, jagged fissures spread like veins, widening into something dark, something bottomless. It wasn't just a tree anymore. It was an opening, a gateway, a doorway to somewhere else. Then the shadows moved, not walking, gliding. A dozen of them, slipping forward with an unnatural, jerking motion, their elongated limbs stretching in ways that defied logic. I stumbled back. My boot caught the edge of the pit, and I fell, the flashlight rolling from my grasp. The darkness surged forward. I scrambled to my feet, breath coming in ragged gasps. Run. My mind screamed it, but my body was frozen in place, muscles locked in terror. One of the figures came closer. It loomed over me, impossibly tall. Its face, if it even had one, a gaping void. Then it whispered, "You should not have looked." Something cold touched my wrist. I jerked away, but my arm wouldn't move. It wasn't just the cold. It was inside me, seeping into my bones, crawling through my veins like tar. The darkness spread. I looked down in horror. My fingers were shrinking, the skin curling inward, bones twisting, disappearing into nothing. "No, no!" I screamed, but the sound barely left my throat. The other shadows closed in, their bodies shifting, their limbs elongating. I could feel them now, pressing against me, pulling me in. A voice echoed through my skull, low and ancient, dripping with finality. "We take what belongs to us." I tried to fight. I tried to claw at the ground, but my hands weren't there anymore. The darkness swallowed my arms, my chest. My vision blurred. The last thing I saw was the tree, its bark sealed once more, as if it had never been broken. And then, nothing. No light, no pain, no me. The team sent a search party the next day. They found my camp undisturbed, my backpack still sitting by the fire pit. My notebook lay open beside it, as if I had been in the middle of writing. But I was gone. No tracks, no struggle, no sign I'd ever been there at all. Only one thing remained. Carved into the ancient tree, fresh and deep, as if done just that morning, Croatoan.